Border Patrol trainees and Border Patrol agents are not treated equally. This starts on day one, and it lasts an entire year, and it has nothing to do with performance. You are not a Border Patrol agent yet. Many trainees find this out in rather surprising ways. Today we're going to be talking about some of the differences between Border Patrol agent trainees versus Border Patrol agents. These are considered a double standard by some, considered a rite of passage by others. When you first EOD, you receive guidance from your sector about how you are to be appearing when you're on duty. Trainees message me, "Hey, Sarah, I thought we could have beards as Border Patrol agents." And while technically the uniform and grooming standards do say that Border Patrol agents can have beards, it also specifies that Border Patrol trainees will be attending the academy beardless. Mustaches are okay. However, your sector guidance may require that you are completely clean shaven. So that is one of the first differences between a Border Patrol trainee and a Border Patrol agent, is there are different uniform and grooming standards beginning at the academy with your facial hair. Next is pay. Border Patrol trainees receive less base pay than do full Border Patrol agents. It is policy, and once you complete your probation and finish your first year, you will receive that additional 25% of your base pay. Next is transportation and being included in certain programs at your station. Many programs do not allow trainees to participate. You'll have to check with your specific station to see what the policy is. But many times, trainees are not allowed to ride in the van pools at stations. And what van pools are basically a government's transportation, well, like a big van, that will allow agents from more remote areas or cities to pool together and take turns driving to the station and then back home. Many times trainees are not allowed to participate in these, and there are some different reasons that I'll cover later. That can be taxing the first year when you're trying to learn your duties and get from place to place, and you have to stay awake and driving yourself all the way back to wherever it is that you are living if it happens to be something that is not right there close to the station. So van pools are really great, and it's kind of a bummer that trainees cannot participate. Next is collateral duties. When you are a trainee, you are not going to be having a collateral duty. Collateral duties are really just duties that you carry with you while you're still a field agent. So I'll use an EMT collateral duty as an example. That was one that I had when I was a Border Patrol agent. And a collateral duty just is something that you do while you're a field agent, like medical treatment if you're an EMT, for example. So if you are a trainee, you're not going to be participating in any collateral duties. They want you to focus on your training, learning your area for that first year. Next are details. So these are special assignments. You will not be allowed to put in for any of these special details until you have at least a year in. Many details are 2 or 3 years. 3 years is the traditional amount of time that you will have to have in service before applying for these special assignments. There are exceptions. You will have to have at least 1 full year. You'll have to be off probation to be able to put in for any type of special assignment or detail. As a trainee, your leave is somewhat more limited. Just because you haven't been with the agency long enough, you don't really have that much time accrued to be able to take leave. The next is additional training. When you are still a trainee, they're not going to allow you to go to other additional trainings for the most part. They want you to be focusing on learning the basics of being a Border Patrol agent. And again, this does impact some trainees that have specialized civilian training, such as EMTs and paramedics. If they're not allowed to participate in training, even EMT training there at their station or paramedic training maybe at the sector, it can be challenging to seek the training that you need off duty with other agencies because Border Patrol isn't letting you participate. Another aspect is the paperwork. As a Border Patrol trainee, you are going to have more paperwork than Border Patrol agents generally. Trainees historically have been the ones who do the bulk of processing when groups of aliens are caught and brought back to the station for processing. Many times other agents get excited when there are trainees on shift because they can just bring the aliens in and drop them off at the station for the trainees to take care of. And when you're a new trainee, sometimes the paperwork can take a few hours, depending on your familiarity and what kind of file you're going to be producing for the particular alien. So expect to do a lot more processing and paperwork while you are a trainee. Next are the shifts. Generally, you are not getting the premier shifts as a trainee. Once you leave the field training unit, you will be assigned to a unit at your station, and then you will just go on to whatever shift they happen to be on for the remainder of your time. You will not be able to do like a shift bid right away. You're just going to get assigned. And when you do get to do shift bids, generally the more choice shifts are taken by the senior guys, and you kind of end up with whatever is left over, a lot of times midnights. Also the same thing with leave. You'll often be one of the last to get a chance at the annual leave calendar, and it will be kind of a take whatever is left when you are planning your vacations and things like that. Also, when you're a trainee, your duty belt and gear may not be as customizable as regular field agents. I know when I was a Border Patrol agent, we were not allowed to purchase our own boots or wear any sort of customize anything until we were finished with probation. That does vary by station. Some stations are a lot more lenient, other stations are more traditional. Next is driving scrutiny. As a trainee, all eyes are going to be on you. People are going to be paying attention to your driving. If you happen to get stuck, if you have any sort of contact with stationary objects while in reverse, it is going to be a bigger deal than when you are an agent. It is way easier to get in trouble as a trainee. It is way easier to get fired as a trainee. So expect eyeballs on you and people paying attention to how you're performing your job duties. Next are deadlines. While a regular agent may have a certain deadline 2 weeks from now, if you get issued the same paperwork, they don't like trainees to wait until the end. They want trainees to take care of those things right away. Things like your computer-based learning, as an example, or anything you need to turn in to someone, you want to make sure that you get those handled plenty in advance. And that brings us to another difference. Border Patrol agent trainees don't always receive union membership paperwork there at EOD. Some stations will not give trainees union membership paperwork until after they have already been through the academy and are at their station. I actually had to go and ask for it, like, hey, can I be part of the union? Some sectors will offer that to you at EOD, but not all. Another difference is your thrift savings plan, your TSP retirement. If you end up quitting Border Patrol before your third year, before you're considered vested, all of the money that the government has been matching with your TSP, you don't get to keep that anymore. You have to have completed your third year to be able to keep that money if you are going to part with the agency. So that is another difference. If you are a fully vested agent, then you're keeping all of that matching money. Next is a controversial topic, and I somewhat hesitate to bring it up here. But let's just get the cat out of the bag, and that is this idea of unpaid work. Historically, in the Border Patrol, there has been a tradition of Border Patrol trainees being required by their field training officers, by their journeymen, of working an hour before shift every day. And that is fine. The part that is controversial is, for the most part, trainees have not been allowed to claim that on their timesheets. So once or twice is not so much of a big deal, but when it is an entire pay period where you are reporting for work an hour early, it adds up over the course of those 6 months. And it translates into thousands of dollars just for a GS5 and even more for GS7, GS9, GS11. And another complication with that is, because you're arriving an hour early, if they would allow you to ride in the van pools, you wouldn't be there at the right time because the van pools are not rolling into the station a full hour early. So having that requirement excludes you from being able to participate in the van pool program. And I'm not saying one way or the other if this is acceptable or unacceptable, but just understand that many times in many stations, especially the smaller, more traditional stations, there may be an expectation for trainees to work an hour early and then be forbidden to claim that on their timesheet. So regular agents don't have to show up that early. Regular agents are able to show up to shift maybe 10 or 15 minutes early, change things in their locker, and get ready for muster that way. Whereas trainees don't have that option. Whatever your supervisor tells you to do, that is when you're going to be showing up. Next is the probation party. I found this interesting. At the end of your year, when you are going off of probation and becoming an agent, the rite of passage is done with a party. Trainees throw their own party for their unit. So, for example, if you're on a unit of maybe 70 guys, something like that, and you're the only trainee, or there's only a couple of trainees, you are finding a location, you are catering food or making food, making arrangements for music and whatever it is that you're going to have at your party, and then you're footing the bill for it, which is a little bit different than an agent. Say an agent is going to get promoted or there's ceremony or celebration. Generally, the coworkers are throwing that for the agent to congratulate them on their promotion or whatever it is. So I found that to be a little bit interesting that trainees historically, traditionally, have thrown their own probation party moving into that agent status. So those are some of the differences between Border Patrol trainees and Border Patrol agents, the things that you are going to have earned once you pass your probationary period. So when you pass your probationary period, you can go from the mustache to the beard. You will be getting that 25% pay. Theoretically, you will be included in the van pools. You will be able to start having collateral duties. If you meet the time in service, you'll be able to put in for details. You'll have a little bit more annual leave that you can take because you will have built that up. You'll be included in some of those additional trainings. You'll still have processing, probably more processing because you're still a junior agent. But if there are trainees that are younger than you, then they will probably be doing the additional paperwork and the processing. By the time you complete probation, you should be able to do a shift bid around that time. You will be able to be in a little bit better position for your leave. You'll be able to customize your gear better if you're in a more strict station that has prevented that up until now. You'll still get in trouble if you have any sort of accident in reverse, but your driving is less scrutinized by the time you have your year finished. You'll be in the same category as agents with deadlines. By then, you'll probably already have your union membership if you choose to do that. You won't quite be TSP vested yet. You still have to work to the third year to get that. At that point, you will not be doing any unpaid work that is mandatory like a trainee, and you will have already had your probation party, so you'll enjoy other trainees' probation parties going forward. For more information like this, hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share this video. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.